Tupac was one of the most legendary rappers of all time and dated a ton of famous women while he was alive. From A-list actresses to massive pop stars, today we're breaking down every girl Tupac dated. When Tupac was in high school, he studied acting at the Baltimore High School for the Arts. That's where Tupac met his first celebrity girlfriend, Jada Pinkett Smith, who was also going to the same school. At the time she met Tupac, Jada was a drug dealer. Jada's mom was addicted to heroin, so she started selling crack in high school to get by. Tupac's mom, Afeni Shakur, was also an addict, so Tupac and Jada bonded over their rough childhoods and love for art. Pac used to write poems about Jada, and she was an inspiration for some of his early music. But just as Jada was starting to get out of the streets, Tupac was getting even deeper into the lifestyle. When Tupac was a senior in high school, his family moved to Marin City, California. But even though Pac moved to the other side of the country, he still kept in touch with Jada, and they both helped start each other's careers. Tupac got Jada her first acting role in the movie Menace to Society. Pac was also supposed to have a role in the movie, but got fired after he was causing problems on set and got into a fight with Alan Hughes, one of the directors of the film. But Jada still got to stay in the movie, and it really helped launch her career. Jada returned the favor by helping Pac get a guest role on the TV show A Different World, and also appeared in the videos for his songs Keep Your Head Up and Temptations. But even though they were super close, according to Jada, she and Tupac never had a romantic relationship. They were best friends.
That's what I'm saying. When you said, that's why I was like, when he said relationship, that's why I was like, she claimed they was only just friends.
And she considered Tupac to be like a brother to her. But according to Jada, their relationship was never sexual. Ever since his death, Jada still talks about Tupac all the time. She says that Pac was her true soulmate, even though she was married to Will Smith. According to Jada, she rejected Tupac after he proposed to her in '95 while he was locked up at Rikers Island. Even though Jada says they could never be romantic because there was no chemistry between them, she still thinks her and Pac were made for each other. Pac stayed in touch with Jada until his death, but as he got more famous, Tupac started dating more and more celebrities. In '93, Pac was on top of the world. He was getting respect as an actor for his role as Bishop in Juice, and just dropped his breakout album, Strictly for My Niggas. So, Tupac started getting attention from all kinds of women, including one of the biggest pop stars in the world. Tupac first met Madonna after they were introduced by actress Rosie Perez and went to the '93 Soul Train Awards together. Madonna's date ghosted her, so she asked Rosie to introduce her to Tupac. Pac told Rosie he was interested, so he filled in as Madonna's date at the awards show. After that, Pac and Madonna started dating for real, but they kept it a secret from the media. Madonna was one of the biggest stars in the world at the time. Even though Pac was also catching up quickly, he was a lot more controversial, and their relationship probably would have been all over the headlines. So, they decided to keep it quiet. But when you're that famous, it's hard to keep things a secret forever. Snoop Dogg later said on the Howard Stern show that he was shocked when he saw Madonna was chilling with Tupac.
But guess who he pulls up with?
Who?
With Madonna, man.
Yeah.
And he comes in, he's got a big bag of that do-it fluid. He tells her, have a seat. She looks at me, I look at her, I say, oh wow, that's Madonna.
While they were dating, Snoop was in New York hosting Saturday Night Live and told Tupac to come through after the show to bring him some weed. Snoop was expecting Pac to come through with the girl, but Snoop had no idea that Tupac was kicking it with massive pop stars like Madonna. Pac and Madonna dated for over a year, but eventually they broke up in '95. The world didn't even know about their relationship until Madonna admitted it on the Howard Stern show in 2015.
I was dating Tupac Shakur at the time, and the thing is, he like got me all riled up about life in general. So when I went on this show, I was feeling very gangster.
I didn't know you dated Tupac
That was
Shakur.
a surprise.
That's never been out there, I don't think.
A few years later, the relationship was also confirmed after TMZ released a letter Tupac wrote to Madonna while he was in prison. In the letter, Tupac also revealed why they broke up. Pac said that as a white woman, dating a black man wouldn't hurt her image and could even make her look cool. But for someone like Tupac, being seen dating a white woman would let down his community and hurt his image. So Tupac decided to break up with Madonna, but he apologized in the letter for hurting her feelings and invited her to visit him in jail. But by the time Tupac broke up with Madonna, he'd already met his future wife, Keisha Morris. Tupac met Keisha in '94 at Capitol Nightclub in New York. They only talked for a few minutes, but then Keisha ran into Tupac again at another nightclub, and he remembered their entire
I ain't gonna lie, I'm sorry, twin. I ain't gonna lie, twin. I ain't gonna lie, twin. I would've had to roll with Madonna, twin. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna lie to you, but back then I see where Pac was coming from and all that, but I ain't gonna lie, twin. Even though Madonna was way older then, she was a bad bitch, gang. I ain't gonna lie, you tweaking, twin. You tweaking, twin. I'm gonna be completely honest, gang.
Conversation. Pac said he'd been looking for her for months and convinced Keisha to give him her number. But at the time, Tupac was fighting a sexual assault case and had to keep going to court. Keisha was only 20 when she met Pac, and her parents warned her not to get involved with someone like that. But Keisha didn't listen and kept dating Pac. Pac even proposed to her after they'd only been dating a few months. Keisha said yes, but Pac ended up being found guilty of sexual abuse and gun charges in December of '94. While he was locked up, Keisha kept going to visit him, and they ended up getting married while Pac was in prison. Keisha used to visit Tupac every day in jail and helped him get through his sentence. But after he posted bail, things started to change. At first, Pac couldn't afford the $3 million bond he needed to get out, but Pac was able to get the money together after he signed a deal with Suge Knight and Death Row Records. When Pac got out, he got right back to focusing on music, and Keisha started to feel like he didn't need her anymore. Keisha supported Pac while he was locked up and fighting the case, but after he got out, he went back to living the rapper lifestyle. When he posted bail, Pac didn't even call to tell her, and Keisha had to call the jail herself to find out what was going on. Keisha flew back to New York to see if Tupac needed her help, but one of his family members told her, "You had your 15 minutes of fame. Now we'll take over from here." Right there, Keisha knew the relationship was over. Tupac and Keisha ended up splitting up after only being married for 10 months. But even though it didn't work out, Keisha and Tupac stayed friends, and he always believed they'd get back together one day. But while he was still technically married to Keisha, Pac met his next fiancée, Kidada Jones. Kidada Jones is the daughter of legendary music producer Quincy Jones and actress Peggy Lipton. Even though they later fell in love, Pac's relationship with Kidada started off rocky. During an interview with the Source magazine in '93, Tupac dissed Quincy Jones and said that he messed up his kids by only sleeping with white women. So, when Pac first met Kidada a few years later, it was pretty awkward, but he later apologized and gave Kidada his phone number. By the third time they met, Tupac was already telling Kidada he loved her and proposed just a few months after his marriage to Keisha ended. Kidada was also in love with Tupac, and they moved in together in a house in Calabasas, California. Kidada thought Tupac was the one, and they would spend the rest of their lives together. But only 4 months after they moved in together, Tupac was shot and killed. Kidada was in the hotel room in Vegas she was sharing with Tupac when she got the call that he'd been shot. Kidada rushed to the hospital, and when she got there, the doctors handed her his bloodstained clothes and gave her the bad news. Kidada and Tupac's mom, Afeni, were two of the last people to talk with Tupac before he went into a coma and eventually died. Kidada wrote in her biography that Tupac was the love of her life and she had a bad feeling about going to Las Vegas, but she had no idea how bad it would get. Kidada Jones and Tupac never got a chance to officially get married, but she was his final girlfriend and the one who was with him until the very end. Those are all of Tupac's official girlfriends and the women he dated for a long time, but Pac had a lot of other flings, one-night stands, and even alleged affairs. In 2016, Bobby Brown wrote in his memoir that Whitney Houston cheated on him with Tupac. Bobby said that Whitney had affairs with a lot.
That's a fact. Back then, Whitney Houston, boy, and she on that booger sugar too. Oh, she gonna fuck some on me. Sorry, I'm my bad. My bad. My mind took me somewhere else. My bad. My. Let's just get back to the video. My bad.
Out of the
Hey, shouts out rest. Hey, shouts out rest. Shouts out his. Damn, that just fucked me up. Shout out Whitney Houston. Rest in peace, Whitney Houston. Real legend.
producers and artists she worked with, but Tupac was the most famous. According to Bobby, Tupac's affair with Whitney started in the first few years of their marriage. Bobby was with Whitney when they found out Tupac had been killed, and she immediately started crying her eyes out. Bobby was also upset about what happened, but it hurt watching his wife break down in tears over another man that she slept with. But Bobby also claims he got his payback. In a documentary on A&E, Bobby claimed that he once had an affair with Madonna around the same time she was secretly dating Tupac. Who knows if Bobby's telling the truth? But Bobby Brown and
I don't doubt that he ain't lying. I don't think he is. I think he's telling the truth.
Whitney Houston were known for their toxic relationship and heavy drug use, so it wouldn't be shocking if they were both sleeping with other big stars. Aside from dating Whitney Houston, there's another wild rumor that Tupac helped Left Eye from the R&B group TLC burn down her boyfriend's house. Tupac met Left Eye at an industry event when they were both early in their careers. Even though they never officially dated, Tupac and Left Eye had a close friendship and used to send each other paintings and artwork. Just like Jada, Left Eye loved Tupac, but they never had a romantic relationship. But while Left Eye was building a friendship with Tupac, she was also in a toxic relationship with NFL wide receiver Andre Rison. What's even crazier is Tupac and Andre were homies at the time. Andre had a studio at his house in Atlanta and invited Tupac to live there for a few months and work on music. Andre started dating Left Eye in '92 after meeting at a club in Atlanta. But throughout their relationship, Left Eye was in love with Tupac and Andre at the same time. Andre and Left Eye's relationship was full of highs and lows. About a year after they started dating, Andre was arrested for beating Left Eye, then firing a gun at two men who tried to stop it. They continued to see each other after that, but the relationship was never healthy. On the night of June 8, 1994, Andre came home after being out drinking and found Left Eye screaming at him in the driveway. Andre tried to find out what was wrong, but she was hysterical and started hitting him in the face. Andre went to go stay with one of his teammates, hoping she would calm down. But while he was gone, Left Eye set a pair of his sneakers on fire and left him in the bathtub. She also went outside and broke the windshield of his car with a vacuum cleaner pipe. The fire started in the bathtub, spread to the rest of the house, and ended up burning it down. But according to Andre, the most shocking part of the story is that Tupac came and picked her up after Left Eye set the house on fire. Tupac pulled up in a black limo and drove her away from the crime scene. That made Andre look at Tupac differently, and their friendship was never the same after that. Left Eye was later charged with felony arson and got sent to a halfway house, plus 5 years of probation and a $10,000 fine. So Tupac has been
That's the incident that got her fucking damn. Hey bro, it's crazy. That shit just gave me the chills, cause like, if you don't look deep into this shit, like you wouldn't know like the true stories behind shit. So and then even when you see this shit on here, you gotta look into it, cause some of this shit still be cap and it still be the wrong story. You know what I mean? But I ain't never had no problems.
Really crazy.
Bro. I ain't gonna lie. All bro shit that he put out literally been fucking factual. That's a fact, bro. I ain't never seen him miss a beat yet. Like right now. Like that's facts.
Love triangles, but nothing beats his affair with the wife of his biggest rival, Biggie Smalls. Faith Evans is a singer who was signed to Bad Boy Records and married to Biggie Smalls. Faith met Tupac in '95 when the East Coast-West Coast beef was at its peak. After he got out of prison, Tupac asked Faith to come out to LA and work on the song Wonder Why They Call You Bitch. Faith agreed, but didn't realize that Pac was signed to Death Row Records at the time. Faith asked Biggie if she should do the song, and he told her to do it as long as Pac had the money. So Faith went to the studio to record and even took pictures with Pac, sparking rumors that they were hooking up. The rumors only got worse after Tupac dropped his famous diss track, Hit 'Em Up, where he made some wild claims about sleeping with Faith Evans. On the intro, Tupac dissed Biggie, rapping, "I ain't got no motherfucking friends. That's why I fucked your bitch, you fat motherfucker." Pac also doubled down on the first verse, rapping, "First off, fuck your bitch and the clique you claim. West side when we ride, come equipped with game. You claim to be a player, but I fucked your wife. We bust on bad boys, niggas fucked for life." Faith Evans denies ever sleeping with Tupac, but she does admit that Pac tried to get her in bed. Tupac agreed to pay her $25,000 for the studio session and told Faith to come to his hotel room to pick up the money. When she got there, Pac asked her to give him head. Faith said she turned him down, but realized in that moment that Pac was using her to get back at Biggie. Many fans still believe that Tupac did sleep with Faith. Another one of Tupac's ex-girlfriends, Desiree Smith, confirmed that Pac not only slept with Faith, but he'd been planning it out ever since he was in jail.
He was trying to figure out how he could exact his revenge on Big, and then he was going to fuck one of his bitches.
Tupac and Desiree dated on and off for about 3 years leading up to his death, and she visited him in jail multiple times. Desiree claims that when Tupac smashed Faith, he called her up and said, "I finally did it."
I got a phone call the next day. He called me and he's like, "I did it." And I'm like, "What? What you did?" He's like, "That bitch just left my hotel." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I fucked Faith."
According to Desiree, Faith knew exactly what she was getting herself into when she went to record with Tupac. Faith's marriage to Biggie was falling apart because Big was always cheating on her, so she decided to work with his enemy, Pac. When she was in LA, Faith slept with Tupac to get back at Biggie for always cheating on her. Desiree also says that Tupac had no reason to lie to her about what happened, so she believes he was telling the truth.
I could say this, that man ain't never lied to me one day in his life. I've never caught him in a lie. Good, bad, or indifferent. He always kept it real with me, so, you know, I don't see why he would lie.
No one knows if Pac actually did sleep with Faye, but the situation inspired one of the wildest diss tracks in rap history. Other than that, there are a few other women who claim they were hooking up with Tupac before he died. In 2012, an author named Jara Everett wrote a book called Jump Off, where she claims to have slept with Tupac and other famous men like Suge Knight, R. Kelly, and Young Jeezy. The details of their relationship aren't too clear, but in the book, Jara said that Tupac was her favorite celebrity relationship. She said Pac was down to earth and wasn't anything like how he seemed to the public. Adult film star Heather Hunter also claims she had a short fling with Tupac right before he died. Pac and Heather met after he called her up to star in a music video for the song How Do You Want It? They were releasing two versions of the video, one for the daytime MTV audience and another for the late night crowd. So Pac called Heather and two other porn stars, Nina Hartley and Angel Kelly, to be in the R-rated version. At first, Heather didn't want to do it, but Pac was offering triple what she could make on a normal video shoot, so he convinced her to do it. On the set, she and Tupac hit it off, and he started seeing Heather on the side. She didn't sleep with him on the night of the shoot, but Pac convinced Heather to move back to LA from New York, and they started dating. According to Heather, it was more than just a sexual relationship, and they had a deep spiritual connection. But Pac ended up dying just a few months after they met. But Heather isn't the only woman who claims she and Tupac were in love when he died. Female rapper Yo-Yo Fearless also says that she and Pac had a special relationship that lasted until the end.
Back then, people thought that you and Pac were dating.
Yep, we did.
Oh, y'all did date?
Yeah, we did date.
That's real?
That's real, yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
How long did y'all date?
Oh, goodness. It's all his life.
Pac and Yo-Yo met each other at the studio sometime in the 90s and always stayed in touch. Their friendship turned into a relationship and they dated for a while. Nothing ever happened that broke them up, but as time went by, Yo-Yo said she saw Pac more like a brother than a boyfriend. Yo-Yo was even close to Pac's family and went to the hospital to be with him when he died. So even though they weren't technically together, Yo-Yo says she and Tupac loved each other up until the very end. So even though Tupac was only a celebrity for a few years before he was killed, he dated a lot of famous women and broke a lot of hearts. None of his relationships may have lasted all that long, but all the women he dated said Tupac was a great guy, and some of them never fell out of love with him.
Damn. Hey, appreciate that, Happy Jane, man. You make sure you goddamn have a good one, man. I appreciate that for real, for real. Good spirits, good vibes, man. I like that, man. Appreciate that for the follow, too, for real.